microphone is a little far. Stop playing on my setup, little fairies. All right, this says we're live. Let me go double check in the room. It's so funny, Teray, because no matter what time you come in on my screen, you always beside me. I used to think it was because you were first. See, on the screen, all I see is you and I. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Unlock Your First Six Figures morning show. I am your host, Shay Cannon. I'm an award-winning, put it here, award-winning fractional chief operating officer and I have an exclusive clientele of 7 and 6 figure CEOs. However, I have a mission, and that mission involves you, entrepreneurs and small business owners. I want to help you to stop spinning your wheels and struggling to make it to your first 6 figures in revenue. And I do that by showing you how to make the money and how to create time freedom, okay? Make the money and create time freedom. So I have this little segment that comes after what we call blog talk, and blog talk has already happened. And so the tip of the day or the discussion of the day has been revealed on blog talk. So this week, what we're talking about, y'all, we're talking about the overlooked investments you need to make into your business to have a successful business, okay? Blog talk, it all starts with the blog. If you want to go jump ahead of us, you can go to shaycannon.com/invest this week. It should be in the caption if you're in the group looking. So that's where the entire blog post is. Yesterday, we talked about one of the investments you need to make is into your personal well-being. Okay? Today, what we're going to talk about is you need to be making investments into client support. I don't know why I wear glasses every day when I come back from the blog talk, because the lights always shine in them. All right. So today what we're talking about is you need to be investing in client support, okay? Small business owners tend to put more of an investment into getting new clients, okay? We do the marketing, we do the ads, we do all the things to get the client, but what have we done? What have we invested, okay, into supporting that client once we get them? Okay, yes, you're going to perform the service, but what else could you be doing to support them in the onboarding phase? What else could you be doing to support them in the servicing phase and the offboarding phase? Are you missing the opportunity to service them after the service, right? So what are you putting into the client support? So little do most people know, but your referrals, your testimonials, okay, your repeat business, all of that is born out of what type of support did you give them? Okay, what type of support? Because these days we want what we paid for and we want to get it in an easy way. So how can you support me, okay, in paying you easily, getting what I need from you easily, and using what you gave me easily? That's client support, okay? And it's often overlooked, but I need you to start providing prompt, okay, meaningful service, and you can get more of a return. Again, that's an investment that gives a return on investment, okay? And it's an investment, I'm going to say, possibly even better than marketing. Have you ever heard of word of mouth? Right? Well, where does word of mouth come from? Most often it comes from people who have experienced your service. That's the referrals we're talking about, okay? You want to have an affiliate program, but you haven't serviced your people well enough for them to want to go sell it for you. You have to service, okay, your clients. Give them support during the service. So I'm going to start off with Miss Cheryl, because she is always bright and early and made it here this week first. So Cheryl, what are your thoughts about an investment in client service, just like we invest in marketing?
I think it's important because that's where you find out, number one, if you're a good fit. Even when, having a questionnaire, they can still pass, there. But when you actually start working with the person, things do come out, and it can be difficult. So I think that, and also, providing, giving them what they need. What I've discovered lately is that, and it's been reinforced, we kind of know this already, but people don't want what they need. They want what they want. And if I'm the kind of person that I can't work with you and not give you what you need, because when you discover that you need it, then you want to lay it at my door. Oh, well, you didn't show me that. You didn't. Oh, yeah, I did. You declined. So I've actually started going back to a process that I used back in the day, and that is, if you say you don't want to know X, Y, and Z, I just
Mhm.
have you affirm it with an email. That way, I don't have any problems. And it I think sometimes it makes people think. You don't know what you don't know, and the time to find out is not when you've launched your project or your product, and then it's like, well, maybe I should have. Well, there's no coming back unless you're paying me for a second course. So yes, customer service, you do the very best you can. I tend to over deliver, but some people, they just want to just give me what I need. Well, there's a process. Respect the process. If you can't respect the process, you're not going to get what you need or what you want. So I'll stop there, because that's a whole lecture.
It reminds me of last week when we said, be like a doctor and you do the assessment, stand up, be the expert, and give them what you know they need after your assessment, not what they
Absolutely.
come to you saying that they want or need, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I love it. Demetra, what are your thoughts around client support and investing in client support, just like we invest in getting the client?
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so it's funny that you even brought this up today. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we hear you just fine.
Okay. Okay, I'm in the vehicle. So when you were talking about, your onboarding, your, whole during the process and even afterwards, I woke up this morning that I really need to know my clients, the parents' birthdays, as well as the children' birthdays, because I like to give them a little recognition. Sending a card in the mail, that's so rare these days, and maybe on a monthly basis during that particular session, I can have cupcakes or whatever for everyone there. So in regards to the onboarding process, that's something that I've been doing for a while. But one of the things I do with them during the onboarding session is give them my personal cell number. So if they are running late or just need to speak, they can catch me on this phone, as opposed to the office phone, which I won't answer during the session. I won't even go to that phone if it rings. So they know to call me then. Call me on the cell phone. In regards to also how do they, like, if they have questions or anything. After each session, I send a progress report to the family, let them know what was going on in the session, highlight anything and stuff. And I'll always leave it as, if you have any questions or concerns, please just give me a call. And, I have a lot of parents that, just appreciate the fact that they can get in touch with me at any given time, because they often compare that to how the teachers are not responsive to their emails or phone calls. So that's important. Onboarding and everything. Everything you're saying is good.
Yeah. So let's add to that, right? Because in onboarding, a lot of people are like, well, how can I add, client service to onboarding? Well, a lot of us have these assessments or these intake questionnaires and forms and stuff as a part of our onboarding. And if you got 30,000 questions on that questionnaire, let's take away it as a form and make it as an initial meeting. Okay, make that as you interview them to get those answers, because those people are never going to fill out that big long thing before their first meeting with you. And that's why you're filling it out and asking questions about it in the meeting anyway. So either go ahead and have an extra meeting that is the filling out of that questionnaire, which, guess what, doesn't even have to be you. If you have a team member, your team member can get it done, right? If it's you and only you, that's fine. Add extra time to the initial meeting so that you can interview them and get these answers. So that's a great way that you can support them as a client through the onboarding process. So I love that. Demetra, you were talking about communication. Oh, yes. I love me a communication protocol. Everybody here knows I have them. Now, Demetri, you know, I cringed and wanted to fall out when you said you gave them folks your personal cell phone number. Oh, my God. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? But no. So for me, I just believe, like yesterday, we talked about well-being, right? So I believe in a huge separation between business and personal, because if people can access you for business during your personal off time, you're never really getting that personal off time. Because I'm going to tell you this, whether you answer them or not, your brain has already started working on the problem they presented to you. Right. So what I would suggest is maybe having a Slack channel and putting your clients in it, maybe using Voxer or any text-like thing that you can shut off during your personal time is what I would say. But I believe in communication protocols, because the main point of you saying that is they need access to you, and they need access to you outside of their sessions. And so I do believe that that is client support. I just don't want it to be on your personal phone. So you can use the things that I mentioned: Slack, SLACK, y'all know I'm from Alabama, Voxer, VOXER, right? There are so many messaging apps out here that you can then have handy, but turn off during your personal time. But I love all of those things that you said, Demetri, so thank you. Glo, what do you think about client support and investing in it? If you can't come off the mic, feel free to use the chat. And with that, I'm gonna go with Teray. Teray, what are your thoughts around this client service as an investment?
It's absolutely important. I think that it reminds me of the customer journey. I think that before we even get clients, we need to know what the journey looks like. We're not just trying to sell the product. We want to continue to sell to them, but in order to do that, we have to continue to service them. And so whenever we know what the customer journey looks like, you know what I mean? You might first get them on board by getting their email address, and then selling your $10 product, and then your $27 product, and then your $100 product. But the thing is that you have to have a plan in place first for each client. So, but your plan won't work if there's no service. You know what I mean? They have to be getting emails they have to be hearing from you. They have to feel like they're part of your culture. You know what I mean? Are there weekly chats? Are they in the group? Are they receiving coupons? You know what I mean? That's part of servicing the client. So I mean, even whenever they get through the entire journey, you want to start them back from the beginning, or you want to, create more for them. But even whenever they get to the end of the journey, then you have to have them at a place where, like you said, the offboarding. What did you like about the service? What did you like about the product? How can we do better? As an entrepreneur, we have to be open to receiving and to hearing constructive criticism. I was just going to call it criticism, but constructive criticism. For some clients are just going to fuss and complain. They just want, you didn't do anything right. You know what I mean? But at the same time, as an entrepreneur, you have to get better. You want to be better with servicing your clients, and the only way you're going to know that is if you listen to them. So the offboarding is absolutely important as well.
Love it, love it. You brought up so many great points, Teray. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the client journey, right? We specialize in service-based business around here, even though we can help some product-based businesses. And so for a service-based business, the client journey has at least 5 steps, right? How do they come into awareness of you? How do they inquire about your service? How do you onboard them? How do you service them? And how do you offboard them? So those are the 5 main steps of a client journey. And so what I teach is, not only is that the client journey, and not only does each step have an opportunity for you to infuse things, team, tech, all of the things, but today we're talking about, client support. So each step you can employ client support, and when you go from one step to another, that little gap between the steps, that's an opportunity to infuse client support. So thank you for that, Teray. I do believe, like Teray says, it's an opportunity for you to infuse what you believe, right? Every business should have a mission and a vision. It's a part of what helps you to stand out. And if you're not infusing that mission and that vision inside of how you're giving them support, then I'm not quite sure if that is actually your mission and your vision, right? So for example, I want to show you how to make the money and create time freedom, right? So if I'm always showing you techniques that involve hustle, 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 and you don't have time freedom, what am I doing, right? But if I'm not infusing time freedom, again, what am I doing? Because if that's my mission and my vision, then when I'm giving you something, I should also be giving you things to help you create that time freedom. That's my mission, right? So it's an opportunity as you support clients to help them to become a part of the mission and benefit from the mission. So great things. And I love about the feedback, and I love about rewards programs and discounts and all of that. All of that counts as client support. So with that, we're going to go to Heather. Heather, what are your thoughts on investing in client support, just like we invest in marketing?
I don't think I ever really thought about it in the terms that you are explicitly breaking it down.
Mm-hmm.
So to look at it as a piece by piece process is something that I want to say I've been doing it, but now you have me thinking about it in a different way.
Yeah.
So now I need to really go back and look at the client journey again and see where there are additional opportunities, because I didn't think about it in these terms so now you gave me more to think about.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. And so Glow in the chat says, I believe it's important, and it's also word of mouth as well. One client telling this person and then that person and that person, and then it becomes a chain. She said, I think I answered it right. You did. Basically, that's what makes client support worth it. It's a part of what they're going to rave about to other people. So thank you, Glow. Auntie Shaky, thank you for joining us. I think you've gotten a bit of a summary of what we're talking about. Our blog today or this week is all about the investments you need to make into your business to be successful. But these are some of the overlooked investments, right? So yesterday we talked about well-being, and today we're talking about an investment in client support. So tell us, Auntie Shaky, what you think about investing in client support for the success of a business.
Yeah, so listening to, I'm really thankful that that I made it here today, and specifically to listen to what you guys are talking about today. I think it's extremely important. At first, I didn't. I have a client that actually this is what she does, and I was thinking to myself, who would actually pay for that, pay. And so, but I was just like, okay, this is something she really likes to do. And I have an assistant that, I was thinking that, she would be enough to, provide that customer experience that that I desire, but she's not, but that's not her role. Her role is assisting me, which is completely different than the entire customer experience. And I didn't realize that. So, I'm talking from a standpoint where I don't have this in my business today, but I see the value in it because I provide. I know what I'm talking about when I'm a financial strategist and wealth strategist, and I know very well my products, how I can tell my clients how to position their money and all of this other type of stuff. But their overall experience, I feel like, is lacking, it doesn't look the same for every client. Some people get a lot of my attention. Some people get none of my attention. Some people may not hear from me, 4 days or weeks, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Not that they need to hear necessarily from me, but some sort of communication coming from, me and my team. So, which helps with my referrals and stuff like that, because I'm not getting the level of referrals that I think I should be getting, like, oh my gosh, I've helped you in this way. But if someone doesn't feel fuzzy, or, they feel like they were maybe inconvenienced, or, oh my gosh, she's so busy, or this or that, then why would they refer me to someone else? So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. But yeah, this is a great conversation. I think it's immensely important.
Thank you, Auntie Shaky. Yes, yes. So, I mean, that's why it's one of the overlooked investments, right? We all are so focused on servicing the client that we don't think about how to make the service easier, how to infuse our mission, and all the things that we've talked about today, right? But I mean, it's not a bad thing because we're focusing on servicing them well. It's almost like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? First, we got to eat and have air and shelter and all those things. And then, I mean, we don't start with having fine arts and looking for paintings and we hungry, right? So how we go up that pyramid of needs in that hierarchy, it's the same way in business. When we're just trying to eat, when we're just trying to stay in business, we're not necessarily thinking about, the client experience, right? But as we start getting well-oiled machines and we start putting processes in place and we start putting systems in place and all of these things, that's when we should be hitting the humanities and the good things in life, right? This is when we should be adding in client experience. Now, I'll tell you, I think about client experience, especially on my course side, which is where I'm going now on my program side. And so I thought about how everybody does like a welcome box in their high ticket programs, right? Everybody does a welcome box, and that's a great experience. It is. However, I opted not to do a welcome box. I would rather do mile marker awards is what I'm calling them, right? And that is because I actually want you to get through my program, right? I don't want to, celebrate you for the beginning. We haven't done the work yet, right? I want to celebrate you for doing the work. And I want your experience to be about learning this stuff so that you can actually start making the money and creating the time freedom. So for every milestone of my program, there is a gift there. Right? That's the experience that I want them to have. Now, it's nothing wrong with other people having welcome gifts, quarterly gifts, all the good things. That's the way they want to do it. That's one way you can do it. Me, because I actually want my clients to make it through my program, okay, I have the mile marker grid so that when they hit the milestones, we celebrate you. Give me a reason to celebrate you beyond the fact that you made an investment into helping yourself. So that's where, for me, you're going to get a return on that investment. We don't have to celebrate that right now. I want to celebrate us actually making it through, right? So that's one thing that you can do. When you're thinking about, especially you, Auntie Shaker, you have financial services and you live a luxury lifestyle. The things that make your lifestyle luxury is not the service, it's the way they give the service. It's the experience, right? So yes, bring that to your service because you serve at a high level, make sure they feel it. I'll never forget when the nail shops, right? When they first started handing you wine, right? When you came in, oh, baby, guess what nail shop I'm going to every time now? I'm going to the one where I'm going to get my nails done and get the wine, okay? I'm going to go to the one where I get my nails done, get the wine, and they got relaxing music, okay? So what is the experience that you're giving? And I want you to think about it as like concierge, right? Concierge. There's the hotel that you get what you pay for. It's a room, right? And then there's the hotel that has the free cookie. There's the hotel that has, the free breakfast or the free happy hour, right? And there's the hotel that has a desk with a person that can help you with whatever what you need, is what we say in Alabama, right? So those are different levels of service, different levels of client support, and different levels of client experience. Shaky, you hit on something, and that is you really just want touch points for the client. Okay, touch points for the client. Now, I'm going to tell you, that's not always just you doing a personal touch point. Like you said, it could be your team. Like I said earlier, if you don't have time to interview for the questionnaire, that could be a team member. That could be the lowest of paid VAs. Anybody can read a question and record the answer, right? But that's a touch point for the client that makes it easier on them, right? So I want you to start thinking about what kind of touch points could you be doing? What kind of support could you be doing? What kind of emails? What kind of text messages, right? What kind of, if you got a Facebook group, what kind of posts? What are the extra things that you could be doing to where you're adding to the experience and adding to the support, okay? Let's get down to the nitty gritty. We're supporting them over and above the service. How can you support your client over and above the service? Okay, so that's what we're talking about today. Cheryl, you came off the mic.
Yes, I wanted to add as well. Um, we also have to keep in mind if they're on a payment plan, we can't roll out everything all at once until that payment plan is taken care of. Um, it can create some issues. I'll just put it that way. And so, you know, you have a lot of people, clients, you know, and you can explain it to them. They hear it, but they don't hear it. And it's like, you're not going to have the whole program until it's paid. So if you put yourself on a 6-month payment plan, then you know what, we're together for 6 months. And that's something to consider. It really is.
It is. It is. All right. I would like to hear. I know you guys have heard at least one thing new, right? And now we have a focus on client support. So I would like to hear at least one thing you guys are going to apply to your business when it comes to this client support. I want you to invest into the client support. That investment can look like more of your time, more of your money, more tech. Just how are you going to have these touch points to add this client support into your business? And I'm just going to go in order of my Zoom. So Teray, what are you going to add?
I think even now that I'm working on this book, I've been working on this book forever. But even as I'm writing it now, I'm able to identify, I'm able to pull things out of the content that makes sense. So the be all end all is not, oh, just buy my book. Like it's not. I'm also working on a workbook with my book to sell it as a bundle, but I'm also able to see how I'm not giving all of the content in the book so that I'll be able to create workshops. I'll be able to create conferences. I'm not just putting every single thing in the book. The book has all, you know, a lot of stuff in it. You're going to want to get the book. I'm creating, you know, video content to apply, you know what I mean? So that's the kind of thing. I'm creating the service, I'm creating the journey before I even finish the product. So that's what I'm working on.
Love it. Love it. Heather, how are you going to infuse more client support into your service?
So with my writing program, I am incorporating all the feedback that I'm getting.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you talk when I'm talking? You were just totally silent. Anyway, I'm going to go back off camera because that's annoying. So I'm asking my authors for their feedback. Like, what is it that is working for you? What is not working for you? What can I make better? What should I not even have anymore? Right. And I want to do that. And we were talking last night, actually, and one of them said they feel like guided brainstorming is something that could be worked into every class session that we have. They really get a lot of value out of that. And I was like, okay, well, that is good to know. And so I'm just really taking note and incorporating. I'm flying the plane or building, what's that stupid saying? Building the plane as I fly it.
Yes.
At the same time, I'm incorporating these changes for the next cohorts. So
exactly. Well, I mean, that's what a beta is. And you already told the people it's a beta. So thank you for helping me make it better, right? So yes. All the things. All right, Glow, you can put in the comments how you're going to add more client support to your service. Demetra, how are you going to add more client support?
I don't know if it's considered client support. Let me see if I could turn this camera around. Client support. Oh, let me just turn it off because I don't know what the hell I'm doing right now. Or a feature, but I am going to be quarterly sending publication in which I will be featured in it in certain areas of the magazine. I figured that may be, but it's a home magazine. It's an American home magazine, so it has recipes and things in it. And again, I want to touch them at home, getting getting quality mail that's not a bill. So I don't know if that's considered more of a feature or is that customer support. I don't know, Shay.
I think that that's definitely invested in customer support, and I don't think that it should be a feature. So to be clear, features should be only the things that get them to the transformation that they are paying for. Anything else is a bonus, a part of the experience, a part of the support, and all of those things. That way, if you have to take them out and replace them with something else, you can, instead of it's something that you have promised as a part of what they paid for. What they're paying for is a certain transformation. And only what they pay for should be the steps to that transformation. Everything else, bonus, support, or whatever, things that you can change and switch out. Does that make sense, Demetra?
It does. Thank you very much.
Not a problem, not a problem. Glow said, I was featured in a magazine last week. However, I don't know what I'm going to do. Any ideas? So Glow, you need to be letting people know that you're featured. How was that last week? And we're just not hearing about it. We just saw you yesterday. You didn't tell us anything about being in a magazine. So yes, you need to share that. Definitely. Because what happens is, even though people may not benefit from the magazine itself, because every magazine's not everybody's type of thing, right? But the fact that somebody who they get a service from or participate with in any way is featured, that helps you, right? That helps you. There are some things that I do that my clients care nothing about. They care nothing about, but they love the fact that I was a part of it. They love the fact that this entity or this other group that they care nothing about chose me to be highlighted, to be featured, to speak, to whatever, right? So you should always be sharing that, because sometimes that might be the reason why somebody picks you over somebody else. The fact that someone else cares to feature you, right, means that there's something about you that somebody else didn't have who wasn't featured, right? So that's why we put like media icons on our stuff, featured in, right? So yes, that's a great thing. So that should now be on your website. It should be a part of any sales pages, all that good stuff. Featured in, all right? That's a whole thing. All right, Glow. Auntie Shaky, what are you gonna do to invest in client support for your clients at this point?
I'm firing everybody. No. Firing everybody and going back to the drawing board. No, I'm going to carve out some time, which is something that I rarely do. You know, because I always feel like, oh, I got to keep my calendar open for, you know, client appointments, and but actually scheduling off that time to meet with the team and tell them exactly what it is that I need, exactly what I want to roll out, and put into my systems, you know, some email nurtures, some text, you know, nurture sequence and stuff like that, and try to automate once a person has gotten to a certain point, you know, within the process, for something to automatically kick out to them, so that they feel, you know, a part of the process instead of wondering what's happening in the process.
Most definitely. I'm gonna tell you, I love people who, if my service, it comes in phases, or it is projects based, you know what I'm saying, where there are different levels to the service, there are different, again, sections or phases I have to go through. I love when I get a quick reference guide as to what all the phases are. Yes, you told me on the onboarding what all the phases are, but guess what? During the service, I have forgotten, and I want to know what's happening next. But if you have given me some type of quick reference guide to show me what these phases are, right, then guess what? I'm not bothering you as much. In fact, I feel empowered to know what's going on. So I love that. If you have a service that goes in phases, right, I'm going to say, give them a report every week, every 2 weeks. I don't know how long your phases last, maybe every month, but you need some type of report that explains to them, yeah, they got the quick reference guide of what the phases are, but give them some type of report to tell them where they are in the phases, right? And what can help them move to the next phase. And I'm gonna tell you, those reports are a great opportunity to remind them when they're in their own way. Okay, it's a great time to remind them of how their inaction or how their non-responsiveness is affecting their timeline, because they love to come back and say, why wasn't this done in 6 months? Because baby, we ain't heard from you in 3. Okay, so that's that report, great way to remind them. But it's also client support, right? I'm supporting you and understanding where you are in your service and what could make your service better that you can impact. So yes, Auntie Shaky, love it, love it, love it. All right, guys, we have the last 7 minutes, and this is the part where if you have any questions, because we gave a lot of information today, right? So do you have any questions on client support, investing in it, applying it to your business, or any business question at all? So you guys know the deal. So you can ask a question about today's topic, yesterday's topic, this week's topic, the topic of business. What you got, Cheryl?
I just wanted to make a comment
Yes.
about what Glow spoke of.
Yes.
This past Friday, I was in a webinar with basically the founder of the romance industry, book industry. And it wasn't until they got to a section of how it got started, how she did what she did, that I realized that I was a part of that history when they started talking about what I did to make sure that this woman was put back on the map as the founder of Romance Writers of America and all this good stuff. And I realized that that history is a great promotional point. And so I started reworking promo stuff over the weekend, because during the webinar, so many people they knew the story, but they didn't know the individuals. And after the webinar, my email was blowing up. Clients, new clients, this, that, and the other. Of course, I had to think about what you talked about capacity. You can't just take them all. So now I've got another wait list. And the other thing is, in launching the classes, the feedback is incredible. But I tell you, one of the things that really, it really struck me that it just never hit me. And that was when we finished the first class, the exit interview, so to speak. They started talking about, well, in this next class, we want X, Y, and Z, and this, and this, and that. And they gave me the outline for the second class. And the second class, it was like, so are we starting next week? No, I need a break. But listen to your customers. They all are not going to tell the same lie, so to speak. If they are all in, the majority is in agreement, then this is what you offer. Don't worry about trying to get everybody. Get the ones that are meant for you, because these are the ones that, as they told me, do you want testimonials? They should never have had to ask me if I wanted testimonials. I should have asked them. And I thought about you, Shay, when we were doing one of the projects you were doing. You were like, I'm going to use that as a testimonial. Now I'm going to edit it, but da 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 da. And I said, we really think we're giving good customer service, and we do to a certain extent, but it can always be improved. And so I started going back to the hotel customer service, hospitality industry. They know how to do it. Am I doing what needs to be done? That concierge thing, whenever I travel, it's concierge. That's it. If you can't get me on your concierge level, I'm at another hotel. So this is the challenge for me. And I'm excited. And, that you're talking about this, that you're answering questions before they even ask, or questions that we don't even know to ask. I really appreciate it.
No problem. I'll say, Cheryl, that in addition to capacity and that wait list, make sure you have some type of intake so that you're making sure that people are your ideal client. As you guys know, I just did that summit that was the living abroad summit or whatever. And so what I have tried to do is make sure that people who are excited about my information understood if going further with me in a relationship is for them or not for them, right? So I had to explain to people who were just starting business, my offer is not for you if you're just starting your business, right? My offer is for you if you have been in business 2 to 3 years. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a startup coach. I am going to help you to make money with the business that you have, reposition you for that money, and then reposition you to have time freedom. It's reposition, right? That means you have to have been positioned before. Don't forget to make sure that they are also your ideal client.
You are
so maybe right. While they're on the wait list, you start sending the wait list some emails that describe who your ideal client is, how to best be ready for the service and all of that. So don't just let them sit there. Start reading them out.
Okay. Yeah, because I've decided I'm not working with people at this point that have no background with writing.
Yes.
Any question they ask only spawns more questions. And it's like, are we there yet? Baby's kids can't
Yeah.
go there. But thank you. That I will do that today. I will start doing that today. Thank you.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Anybody else have a question? Because I do have another tip for you, and that is when we're thinking about how to add support to our clients, especially service-based clients, right? Some of that support could look like who else do they need, right? So we have these programs, and we of course have everything they need for the transformation that we promised, but who else could they need? That could be some bonus stuff, like who are the guest experts you can have to come in and talk to them that gives them additional value above and beyond the transformation that they're paying for, right? What about some type of directory or some type of endorsement or some type of recommendation of who or what they need next? So your service is done. Who or what do they need next, right? Help them to field who maybe they should work with next, what they should buy next, what they should do next, all of these things. Those are also, that's supportive. That's client support, right? All right. Anybody else have a question? Y'all know how this works. Last call for alcohol. Any questions? All right, no problem, because we're basically at the hour anyway. Again, I want you guys to remember we have a free training going on this week. Go to shaycannon.info/free training. It is an encore of last week's training. Cheryl, I saw you signed up yesterday. Thank you. So if you're already signed up, no need to re-sign up. I was supposed to send you an email yesterday. I didn't. I didn't support you very well yesterday. No worries. I'm going to support you today. So if you're already signed up, no problem. I'm going to send you an email on how to join us again on Wednesday. If you did not sign up, shaycannon.info/free training, go sign up. Okay. And guess what? I'm going to give you additional support. If you are signed up, whether last week or this week, I'm going to give you a bonus training next week, but that's only going to be for the people who were already signed up. I'm not going to mention it to the public anymore. It's only going to be for the people who are already signed up. Okay. It's a bonus training because the training is all about the 6 biggest obstacles stopping you from making it to your first 6 figures. I'm going to take one of those obstacles that seems to be a main obstacle, and I'm going to dive deeper next week. You don't want to miss that. So sign up for the training this week. That is the encore. And then you'll get the one next week for free also. All right. All right, guys. I want you to have a great day. The studio is closing in 5, 4,
Thank you.
3, 2, 1. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow.